Few films have ever captured the raw intensity, style, and danger of organized crime the way Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas did. Released in 1990, it wasn't just another gangster movie, it was a cinematic revolution. From the moment Ray Liotta's voice first breaks in with, "As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster," audiences knew they were about to witness something different. This was not a glossy Hollywood version of mob life. This was a gritty, unflinching portrait told with style, violence, humor, and tragedy, and it would go on to reshape the gangster genre forever. The story behind Goodfellas begins with a book, Nicholas Pileggi's Wiseguy, a non-fiction account of real-life mob associate Henry Hill. When Scorsese picked it up, he couldn't put it down. The authenticity, the voices, the inside look at daily mob life, it wasn't about mob bosses in smoky rooms giving orders, but about the soldiers, the footmen, the guys who actually lived the life. Scorsese knew instantly, this was the film he had been waiting to make. He famously called Pileggi and said, "I've been waiting for this book my whole life." To which Pileggi replied, "I've been waiting for this phone call my whole life." It was destiny. Casting was critical. For Henry Hill, Scorsese wanted an actor who could balance charm and menace, someone who could pull the audience in even as his choices became darker. Ray Liotta was still relatively unknown, but Scorsese saw in him the intensity and vulnerability Henry needed. For Karen, Henry's wife, he cast Lorraine Bracco, who brought equal parts toughness and heart, giving depth to what could have been a sidelined character. Then there was Robert De Niro as Jimmy Conway, bringing a calm yet terrifying authority that only De Niro could deliver. And of course Joe Pesci as Tommy DeVito, violent, funny, unpredictable. His performance would become the stuff of legend, winning him the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Filming Goodfellas was an exercise in controlled chaos. Scorsese wanted the movie to feel alive, like you were being dropped right into the world of the mob. He encouraged improvisation, allowing actors to go off-script if it felt natural. Many of the film's most iconic moments came from this freedom. Take the famous "Funny How? Do I Amuse You" scene. That wasn't in the original script, it was born out of Joe Pesci's own stories about real mobsters, and Scorsese crafted the scene around it. The result is one of the most tense and unforgettable exchanges in film history. Scorsese's technical choices were just as groundbreaking. The legendary Copacabana tracking shot, where Henry takes Karen through the back entrance of the nightclub in one uninterrupted camera move, is a masterclass in visual storytelling. In that single shot, we don't just see Henry's power, we feel it. The music, the crowd, the ease with which he commands the room, it all communicates the allure of gangster life without a word spoken. But Goodfellas wasn't just about glamour. Scorsese wanted to show both sides, the seduction and the cost. The film's descent into paranoia, drugs, and betrayal is as harrowing as its first half is exhilarating. By the time Henry is spiraling out of control, the audience feels trapped in the chaos right alongside him. At its heart, though, Goodfellas is about more than crime. It's about loyalty and betrayal, ambition and downfall. It's about the American dream twisted into something dangerous, where power and money replace morals and love. At this point, I want to ask you, do you think Henry Hill was a victim of his circumstances, or did he choose his downfall step by step? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to know what you think. When Goodfellas was released in September 1990, it didn't dominate the box office right away. Competing with films like Ghost and Home Alone, it wasn't the biggest financial hit. But critics knew instantly it was a masterpiece. Roger Ebert praised it as one of the greatest films ever made about organized crime. Audiences who saw it couldn't forget it. The violence, the humor, the authenticity, it lingered long after the credits rolled. The Academy Awards recognized it with 6 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay. While it lost Best Picture to Dances with Wolves, Joe Pesci's win cemented his place in film history. His acceptance speech, just 6 words long, "It was my privilege. Thank you," remains one of the shortest and most iconic in Oscar history. Over time, Goodfellas only grew in stature. Filmmakers from Quentin Tarantino to David Chase of The Sopranos have cited it as a massive influence. Its energy, its editing style, its use of music. It changed the language of cinema. Before Goodfellas, most gangster films were operatic and grand like The Godfather. For Goodfellas, they were gritty, fast, grounded in reality. Even today, more than 3 decades later, Goodfellas feels as fresh as ever. Its influence can be seen everywhere, from television crime dramas to music videos. And its lines, as far back as I can remember, or funny how, funny like I'm a clown, have entered pop culture forever. But beyond its cultural impact, the film remains powerful because of the humanity at its core. For all their crimes, these characters are human beings, flawed, reckless, ambitious, and fragile. We may not condone them, but we understand them. That's Scorsese's genius. He doesn't just show us gangsters, he shows us people. The legacy of Goodfellas is secure. In 2000, the Library of Congress selected it for preservation in the National Film Registry as a work of cultural, historical, and aesthetic significance. Every new generation of movie lovers discovers it, and every filmmaker who watches it learns something new. Martin Scorsese himself has said it's one of the films he's most proud of. And for good reason. Goodfellas didn't just tell a story, it changed how stories are told. It's a film that makes us laugh, shocks us, horrifies us, and ultimately leaves us thinking about choices, consequences, and the fragile line between loyalty and betrayal. In the end, Goodfellas isn't just a gangster movie. It's a mirror, reflecting back both the allure and the destruction of a life built on power and greed. It's a film that reminds us how intoxicating and how dangerous the American dream can be when taken to its darkest extremes.